Page 5 now. Ferguson, Missouri. More protests there, peaceful and otherwise. Meantime, at the White House, more hand-wringing over Ferguson. Forget the $18 trillion national debt. Forget the open border and amnesty for tens of millions of illegal aliens. Forget a fourth branch of government that's out of control. The most pressing issue for the American people, all 315 million of us, according to this president, is Ferguson, Missouri. So the president is holding a series of meetings. What the federal government, a.k.a. the White House, can do to help the civil rights of people who feel uncomfortable with police. They will discuss how, quote, communities and law enforcement can work together to build trust to strengthen neighborhoods across the country, end quote. Really? Is that what being president is all about? All of this is only going to inflame more protests, possibly violent. Joining me now, Daily Ledger, Page 5 girl Christine Johnston. Christine, I keep thinking back to what happened post-election. And the president had some of the so-called community leaders from Ferguson at the White House. And from what we were told, the message was, stay the course. And to me, if you're telling these people to stay the course, that means continue the violence.
Well, and that's the main question. Are protests about to pipe down? Now, Officer Wilson, the 28-year-old police officer who, after a line of egregious threats against his life, has resigned without severance pay, of course. Now, according to Wilson's attorney, the Ferguson cop has received a slew of credible threats to both he and other police officers. The city has also affirmed and reaffirmed that they no longer have ties to Wilson. Alas, this news has not quelled the Brown family firestorm. Now, here's Benjamin Crump, the family attorney, doing his due diligence to repair those race relations you speak of.
The family greatly wanted to have the killer of their unarmed son held accountable. His mother and father don't think Officer Wilson had any consideration for their child, and they wonder if he ever had a conscience. And so that's troubling to them. And we want police officers that do have a conscience in our community, not police officers that are as cold as ice and see our children as demons and criminals. And we won't see this play out over and over again, whether it's in New York or Louisiana or Texas. You see young people of color, especially young black and brown boys, being killed at the hands of the people to protect and serve them, and they're never held accountable.
Now, I have to note that Leslie McSpadden, the mother of Michael Brown, told CBS last week that Officer Wilson wanted to kill someone. However, in responding to the Brown robbery surveillance tape, she was quoted as saying that one image does not paint one's entire life or their entire past. Perhaps she should take her own advice.
You know, no one's talking about Officer Wilson and this poor guy, and I do mean poor guy. His life is over. You know, it's a lot like Mark Fuhrman during the whole O.J. trial. And Mark Fuhrman, you know, was demonized during that trial and had to basically kind of resurrect his career, and he kind of did so. But Darren Wilson, he's a marked man now. Where is he going to work? Where is he going to work again in law enforcement?
Perhaps, he's not going back into law enforcement. Perhaps the only answer for him is witness protection or just finding his own island and hiding. Because you have to keep in mind, too, it is a little bit sad. This guy is only 28. Mark Fuhrman wasn't that young. This guy has his entire life ahead of him.
Right.
Now, the other interesting point is the Ferguson Police Department has come out to say that they're going to make an exerted effort to hire more minority folks on the force. Now, I mean, because God forbid we hire someone based on the content of their character over the color of their skin. Oh, wait. No, because wait, so you're actually focusing on someone's color? It's become so imbalanced. And this whole post-racial America, what happened to it?
It doesn't exist. And I think, and it's clear that Barack Obama and his presidency has made things worse. It's interesting to me, if you go back to 2008 and we heard this post-racial president nonsense, he's made things worse, clearly, because he wants to divide us. And one way he can divide us and throw gasoline on the fire is by race.
Yep, and this will not be ending anytime soon. The DOJ has its own independent investigation into the shooting, so expect riots for God knows how long.
Yeah, okay, so what else?
Your neighborhood.
Yeah, what else do you have on Page 5?
Yeah, so House Republican leaders will confer Tuesday in an attempt to put a halt to President Obama's freezing deportations for as many as 5 million Democrat voters, illegal aliens. The two key leaders leading this charge, Speaker John Boehner and incoming Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, both of whom have been very murky at best when it comes to stealing our nation's sovereignty. Now, this leads me to an inconvenient flashback that most folks have been turning a blind eye to.
There's no denying that many blacks share the same anxieties as many whites about the wave of illegal immigration flooding our southern border. The number of immigrants added to the labor force every year is of a magnitude not seen in this country for over a century. This huge influx of mostly low-skilled workers provides some benefits to the economy as a whole. It also threatens to depress further the wages of blue-collar Americans and puts strains on an already overburdened safety net.
Now, that, of course, was audio from then Senator Obama's biography, which leads me to ask, was he speaking out of both sides of his mouth, or was he simply overtaken by a conservative body double?
And what about the people who have been waiting and have been playing by the rules and have filled out the paperwork and have not crossed the border illegally and are doing what they are told, and now all of a sudden to be slapped in the face with something like this is just stunning.
So are we going to have reparations for all those people who put money, time, blood, sweat, and tears toward actually respecting this nation's sovereignty? It's a slap in the face to them. I love how America is the only nation in the world who is not allowed to have borders. We're somehow a state between Canada and Mexico. So it's bothersome. And 2016 should be mighty interesting, too.
Yeah, it's the lawlessness of a country. It's unfortunate. Christine,
Really,
thanks.
Thank you.